Hello everyone and welcome to the 2000 season. Today we are going to Australia for the start of a new season here in Australia. As you can see, the whole menu has changed to Mclaren grey back then. I liked the paint job back then, so that's okay. Now I have switched around a lot of the rules, which you're going to see in a second's time, which I'm including tyre wear and fuel usage doubled, so it's going to be a much different season from last season. I hope it's still competitive, and I've increased the difficulty, but I'm going to hand you over to the commentator.
Just before the free practice session begins, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. Mika Hakkinen starts the season determined to add a third World Drivers' title to his trophy cabinet. With back-to-back Drivers' Championships under his belt, Mika looks more confident than ever, and in my mind, he is definitely the man to beat. Teammate David Coulthard and Ferrari's Michael Schumacher are both capable of beating the Flying Finn, but they need to do so consistently in order to challenge for the championship. Jenson Button, Nick Heidfeld and Gaston Mazzacane are all starting their Formula One careers here in Australia. The new kids on the block will be keen to impress both experienced drivers and Formula One fans the world over. Well, that covers the drivers. Let's take a quick look at the constructors next. Ferrari are looking forward to another year at the very top of Formula One. Two-time world champion Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello have been raving about the all-new F2000, whilst team boss Jean Todt remains studious as ever. McLaren are likely to be Ferrari's main rivals. Team manager Ron Dennis has stated publicly his intention to regain the title lost to Ferrari last season. Elsewhere, Jaguar are looking forward to their first ever start in Formula One. Ferrari outcast Eddie Irvine and Johnny Herbert will be hoping for great things from the brand new R1. Located in downtown Melbourne, the spectacular Albert Park circuit combines several short straights with fast. Unlike most street circuits, there is not a single 90-degree turn or hairpin in sight. I hate to quote the marketing pundits, but this venue really is a great place for the race.
Right, so we jump into the race, which the first practice, it was monsoon conditions. And of course, in monsoon conditions, I can't really tell how my car is, because as you can see, I'm squirming about on track. And you can see in the top right the amount of fuel I've got as I crash into the wall, which is pretty much the only thing that happened in practice, in the wet practice at least. You see, I've got 131 litres on board, so the car is really slow. But in the third practice session, it was dry, and I managed to set a 36.7, which is faster than my qualifying time, I think, from 1999 in the dry, but I've got 126 litres on board. Now going through the first sector here, I see that Ralf Schumacher in the BMW, my former teammate, set a 32.5, so that's an incredible lap time, and I was really worried here that I'd put the difficulty on too high. I have to restart the weekend, but I go on a low fuel run later on, and I do a 33.0 to confirm that I haven't put the difficulty too high, because the Williams is pretty good in 2000 and I'm not that far off. We're going around the last corner here. Of course, I have replaced David Coulthard, and it does say David on the car, unfortunately. My name's not David. But we set a 32.9, which actually turned out to be our best lap in the session. I never improved. And also the fuel usage was insane. You have to go out with like 3 laps of fuel. But we're coming in now to stop, and I've gone at the wrong person again, just like I did last season, but this time in qualifying. And now I hand you over to the grid.
Welcome to Australia for the opening round of the 2000 FIA Formula One World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Schumacher first. Hakkinen just got the edge over his teammate. He starts from second. Rubens Barrichello, third. Ralf Schumacher, fourth. The McLaren driver performed brilliantly in qualifying to line up fifth. Trulli, sixth. Irvine, seventh. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, eighth. Nick Heidfeld, 9th. Jack Villeneuve, 10th. Sarlo, 11th. Wirtz, 12th. Button, 13th. Jean Lacy, 14th. Jos Verstappen, 15th. Johnny Herbert, 16th. Fisichella, 17th. Ricardo Zonta, 18th. Genet, 19th. Pedro de la Rosa, 20th. Diniz, 21st. Mazzacane, 22nd.
Right, so we are starting in 5th place, a pretty average position, but we're not that far away from our teammate who we can see to our right hand side, but we have the lights here in Australia. And we are away using launch control again, and we've got a bad start, and I think that's Eddie Irvine's on our right in the Jaguar. We used him being in a Ferrari, and we've got, I think, Jarno Trulli in the Jordan ahead of us. They made contact there, and it looks like we're going to go straight down the inside of Eddie Irvine, and we're looking at Jarno Trulli into turn 3, I think this is. We're going side by side with Jarno Trulli. Jarno Trulli's gone deep, and he's hit Ralf Schumacher, and Ralf Schumacher's spun. And we're very lucky not to hit him there and lose our front wing, but we're up into 5th, and we now need to look at Jarno Trulli at some point, maybe at the end of this first sector. But looking at the AI, I think they've got the same kind of fuel load as me, because they will do a pit stop in this race, which they only did last season if they had problems. But we're going down the inside at the end of the first sector. Can we get him? No. He fights back on the outside, and he has better drive. Can we get him into the next corner, which I think is Clark Curve, or something like that. But we're going down the inside. And we've made it. That was a popular passing place last season in the Williams, and this season the McLaren is best. Now this car feels a lot better than last year's Williams, which you'd expect because it's the next year and there's a lot more downforce on this car. But you can see in the top right 105 litres of fuel, and that gives us 13 laps. But we've spun on the curb and we're going into the wall. Note, we've kept it completely out of the wall. And loads of cars are passing us. We're down into 9th, and we just about go ahead of Mika Salo. We're very lucky that Mika Salo didn't just hit the back of us there. We've now got to work at trying to pass Jack Villeneuve as we look at a replay of the start, and you can see my bad start. Of course, all the cars are different this season because it does actually progress, unlike Codemasters games. But you can see Eddie Irvine had to look at the Jordan and went too deep and hit him. That allowed me back through. And then I went down into the 3rd corner when Jarno Trulli just went straight into the side of Ralf Schumacher, and that made him spin, because I have turned up the aggression as well. And you can see here from Ralf Schumacher's on board, this is what it could have looked like if I stayed with Williams this season, but the pole turned out to be McLaren, that he's ruined his race. And you see Jarno Trulli he actually turned into him, so that's really weird there. But I have turned the aggression up. You can see here on lap 2 that we're looking at Jack Villeneuve maybe around the outside here. No, we haven't got the momentum. We're going to go down the inside the BAR, and we have taken him for 8th place. Still the top 6, which only get points positions, so we're going to have to work towards that. As we go down the inside, Nick Heidfeld, can we get him? No, but he holds it around the outside, so we may get him down the pit straight. Now this is the point where I realise I do actually have downforce, unlike the Williams of last year, because I managed to get around that corner in the same style as him, right behind him, so I don't have the dirty air. But we're going down the inside of Nick Heidfeld, and we've taken him an easy move, and we're up into 7th place. Points position is just ahead of us. Taking a look at the replay of that move, a really simple move in the end. He stayed quite close though. I think that's to do with the aggression that I've put on, so we should see some interesting racing this season. But we're going to go down the inside of Heinz-Harald Frentzen into the end of sector 1, and we've taken that. That was kind of a dive bomb. I realised that I need to do this because the leaders are absolutely escaping from this pack. Now, they're really holding me up, this pack. But we're behind Eddie Irvine now on lap 3. Can we get a good drive out of here? It's a mediocre drive, but we're going to slipstream him down the pit straight. Can we get him into the 1st corner? He's going defensive. Let's go to the outside and just brake on the normal line. And he's gone wide, turn 2, we're going to cut under him again. We're going to slipstream him down into 3rd corner, a little bit on the grass there due to the dirty air. We had a lot of understeer. We're going down the inside into turn 3 on the brakes, and we have passed Eddie Irvine. Now Eddie Irvine seems to be driving better this race than he did for the entirety of Ferrari last season, as you all saw. But you can see here that I just slipstreamed him, went wide on the grass, which of course hurt my acceleration. You can see the Jordan there was still behind us. If we had come together, the Jordan would have been straight past. I think that's a Frentzen. Went down the inside, and that's, I think, 5th place wrapped up. So we're now looking at Jarno Trulli on lap 5. It took us to get anywhere close to overtaking him. Right on his gearbox. We're going to overtake him into the end of sector 1. Yes, we are down the inside. and you can see that Rubens Barrichello, now in a Ferrari of course, is 12 seconds ahead of us, and we were level pegging on pace, and I was pushing really, I was pushing a lot to try and catch them until my pit stop, but I couldn't. So it looks like I picked the right difficulty setting. The Ferraris and Mika Hakkinen are exactly the same pace as me when I'm really, really pushing. So that's a good sign for the rest of the season. I expect that I'll be better at Imola. I'm not sure how Brazil will go because of course I didn't really race Brazil last season, but we're coming in for our pit stop. Let's see how it is compared to the Williams pit stops. It should be a bit better considering it's a top team, although you can't say that of McLaren these days. But anyway, we're getting released from the pit box. Where is it going to put us out in? 9th, 10th. It's a 10.9 stops. That's better than most of my Williams stops I had last year, except for the one I had in Malaysia, which was like 8 seconds long. We're out in 10th, ahead of Vert. Now, I've got 116 litres of fuel on board, and I didn't actually catch up Mika Salo in the Sauber because he was on like 2 laps of fuel or whatever until lap 18, where he's behind the Prost there, I think, of Nick Heidfeld. We've taken an opportunistic dive down the inside of Mika Salo. Mika Salo holds it around the outside. And we're going to slipstream him down the pit straight. Maybe have a look at him into the first corner. We're carrying a lot more fuel than him, so he may outbrake us here, but it looks like we have made it pretty easy in the end. But I noticed with really heavy fuel that the light cars, even the Sauber, look, he just went straight round the outside of me in the Sauber. And it's Mika Salo, who was never really an amazing driver, but we slipstreamed him down the straight, and we do have straight line speed, so he just went straight down the inside. And Mika Salo kind of put himself on the grass and then tried to cut back, but he couldn't. So that's us up into... I can't remember what place we are, but we're now passing some people in the pits. We passed Jarno Trulli in the pits, and we're up into 4th place. Now, moving on to lap 23, and something I never expected to happen. As you'll see, the footage will glitch out about now. It's paused, and then you'll see it just glitch out. That's because AVG decided to pop up midway through my race, and it then caused me to crash because the force feedback didn't know what it was doing when it went back on the game, and it just forced me to go full left. And I'm just about trying to get into the pits, and I think I've knocked off my front wing and my rear wing. So that's a disastrous thing to happen. But we're coming into our pit stop now when we'll look at a replay of what happened. Even the replay is bugged. You see that my car slows down for no reason and hits the wall. It's just it just ruined everything. But we're actually having our pit stop now, and of course it's going to be another long wait in the pit stop. But of course we're now with McLaren, and I am aiming for the World Championship this season because I see no reason not to. Of course Ferrari won it in real life, so it's going to be a challenge, especially Rubens Barrichello, who was my championship rival from last season, being there. But of course we're still in our pit stop, and I really doubt that we're going to come out in the points positions. Probably going to come out like 15th or something. But I decided to carry on with this race because I wanted to get some more mileage on the car, see how it feels, especially in the low speed corners. But it looks like we're finally getting released from our pit stop. It's a 43.7. I have no idea what the pit stops used to be at Williams with the rear wing being damaged. Coming out of the pits now, ahead of Petrodonis. We're in 12th place with Johnny Herbert 10 seconds up the road with 5 laps to go. And we've got a blue flag, so we're going to have to pull to the left hand side and let him past. Who is it? It's a Ferrari, I think, if you look in the wing mirror. And it is, and that's Rubens Barrichello has lapped us. So that's how much it's cost us. We were trying to catch up Rubens Barrichello before that accident. And yeah, we're now on the last lap, and we're going to go down the inside of Johnny Herbert, and we've made the move, and we're up into 11th place. So it's a pretty disappointing race in the end in terms of the result, but a pretty exciting one. So please press like if you enjoyed. We're going to go to the line for 11th place finish in Australia. But I'm now going to hand you over to the results.
Well, that's the end of a fantastic Australian Grand Prix. Here are the final results. Mika Hakkinen first. Michael Schumacher second. Barrichello third. Branson fourth. Jarno Trulli fifth. Villeneuve sixth. The McLaren driver 11th.
Yep, so Mika Hakkinen starting how he left off last season with a victory. Michael Schumacher second, Rubens Barrichello third. Jenson Button, who everyone knows I'm sure, retired from the race early on. He got hit in the first corner, I think, and Ralf Schumacher didn't recover. So Williams not having a good day as we now look at the driver's standings.
With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. Hakkinen moves up into first position to lead the Drivers' Championship.
Yep, so no surprise there. It's exactly the same as it was with the race results because it's the first race. But we need to improve because even Jacques Villeneuve got a point there, so that's a pretty good point for BAR. But now something interesting because the Constructors standings had no commentary because McLaren and Ferrari were dead level on points, with Jordan on 5 and then BAR on 1. My old team not scoring any points. I didn't score any points today. But I really hope you enjoyed the race anyway, as next race we are going to Brazil and for the Interlagos circuit, and I'll see you there. Bye bye.